Wow, that was incredible! I just got back from watching all of Demon Slayer Season 3 in one night, and blimey, is that the time? Well, I'm not going to bed anytime soon, so let's talk about it! Demon Slayer has had an exceptional short history. It has become a worldwide phenomenon. Everyone and their grandma in Japan and in many countries around the world are watching it. It has become a worldwide phenomenon. The manga overtook One Piece in manga sales for a short time, and the movie Mugen Train Arc became the highest grossing movie in Japanese history. It was also the highest grossing film worldwide in 2020. An outstanding achievement and win for the anime community. So did Season 3 live up to the hype of previous seasons? I think my excitement is giving away the answer. So let's get on with the video. Produced by UFO Table, released in the spring of 2023 with 11 episodes and adapted from a manga of the same name by Gotoge Kuyoharu, the third season of Demon Slayer picks up right where the second season left off. After the battle of the Entertainment District, Tanjiro, Inosuke and Zenitsu became comatose for a couple of months. Zenitsu woke from his coma first and was hastily sent on a mission. Inosuke and Tanjiro woke within a week of each other. Whilst healing from his fatal injuries, he finds his sword has been damaged, but his unusual swordsmith refuses to forge a new sword for him. Therefore, Tanjiro and his sister Nezuko travels to a hidden village where the swordsmiths craft the swords the Demon Slayers use. Whilst in the village, Tanjiro runs into Hashiras, Mitsuri, Genya, and Muchiro, elite Demon Slayers, who have important roles to play throughout this arc in the story. In the shadows, Michael Jackson, Muzan, sorry, they look exactly the same. I wouldn't be shocked if I heard him go Muzan displays great disappointment in the upper ranks of the demons. None of them are living up to his expectations, with the recent failures to defeat the Hashira, and even the demise of upper ranked demons. We become somewhat aware that Muzan has a greater goal, that he is searching for something desperately. The hidden village is discovered by the upper-ranked demons, and in the dark of night, they launch a devastating attack, slaughtering the swordsmiths, eliminating the people who provide the Demon Slayers with their weapons. Tanjiro, Nezuko, and the Hashiras fight back in a desperate attempt to save the people of the village. The demons prove to be formidable and tyrannical, each with a lust for blood and death, even the more cowardly among them. Hantengu is probably the most interesting. He presents himself as helpless, cowardly and timid, but is capable of committing vile and degenerate actions. But he views himself as blameless, a victim. He truly believes he is not capable of his own actions. Muzan later discovers he has another way to accomplish his ultimate devastating goal, and the personal rivalry between Muzan and Tanjiro will become greater. The plot, though simple, is effective. This arc proves that you do not need a complex and interwoven plot to make something great. Execution is what matters. Normally my attention would waver with a show this action heavy, but unlike Season 2, the action always had purpose beyond fighting to win. There are genuinely incredible moments of characterization and representation of the themes at play throughout each action scene. Linking the action to other aspects of the story is what makes the action scenes more engaging. There is intrigue and drama. This is not your token Avengers movie, where you see lots of incredible action with no substance, and you end up forgetting almost everything about the action because it carried no emotional weight. Season 3 of Demon Slayer nails its action scenes in ways it previously struggled with. For example, the second half of Season 2 of Demon Slayer, the Entertainment District arc, while fantastic, could have been half as long and still told the story effectively. The action, while visually gorgeous for the most part, offered very little substance beyond fighting to win, with 8 out of 11 episodes focused exclusively on fighting the same two demons, with a few flashbacks to flesh out the characters characters, which is a cheap way to generate an emotional reaction for underdeveloped characters. Season 3 is definitely guilty of this flashback criticism, but the flashbacks did not interrupt the flow of the episodes in the same way the flashbacks in Season 2 did. The story and themes are intertwined in an inseparable manner. The core themes are overcoming challenges, acknowledging your weaknesses, sacrifice, and obtaining perspective. Tanjiro overcame immense and brutal combat training, which required sacrifice and acknowledgement of his weaknesses. He faces many demons throughout the course of the arc, alongside his demon sister Nezuko, this time without the help of his trusted companions, Inosuke and Zenitsu, and an experienced Hashira, which raises the stakes. Tanjiro and his sister fights with an inexperienced demon slayer, Genya, and a Hashira, Muichiro, whose emotional detachment proves to be a burden. Throughout the course of the battle, Tanjiro, Genya, and Muichiro learn they can only defeat the tyrannical demons if they overcome their weaknesses, gain some perspective, and make sacrifices. Tanjiro is faced with a choice at the end of the arc, where he has to sacrifice one of two things. He is against the clock, lives are in danger, and Tanjiro has to make an impossible choice. In previous seasons of Demon Slayer, there has always been a Hashira who accompanies Tanjiro and his companions throughout the arc, or at least arrives precisely when Tanjiro and his friends need saving. The Hashiras in previous arcs have years worth of mental and combat experience that they pass on to Tanjiro and his companions. This time, Tanjiro and his new companions have to overcome their most devastating foes yet alone. Until of course Mitsuri appears to save the main characters when all hope is lost. But unlike previous arcs, where a Hashira arrives in a moment of need and saves the day, the threat is too great for even the most elite Hashira to face without aid. Han Tengu represents the opposite of the themes on display. There is no self-reflection within him. He cannot observe beyond what his closed mind already sees. He is empty, selfish, cowardly, pathetic, and weak. Despite this, he is capable of great evil and vile acts. He is the exact opposite of Tanjiro and the heroes who aid him in this arc, who always seek to improve on themselves and to do good. The Swordsmith Village arc has proved to be an incredible chapter in the Demon Slayer series, pushing the characters to lengths beyond their limits and showcasing that Demon Slayer still contains the emotional core it earned back in spring of 2019. The animation of Demon Slayer has always been on par with the most beautifully animated anime films, and Season 3 went above and beyond what came before. The animation is not always used to tell the story. What I mean by this is that in Demon Slayer, when the curtains are blue, it's because they're blue. There is no artistic intent behind the curtains being colored blue other than making it look pretty. And that is the ultimate goal with the animation, making it look pretty. The cinematography typically focuses on the characters and their dynamics, using the camera height and distance to help illustrate the characters' emotions and relationships. But we all know what UFO Table care about the most, creating visually gorgeous action scenes. I mean, just look at this! Demon Slayer's art style is a great in-between stage of mature and cartoony. What I mean by this is that the art style uses realistic-ish human anatomy for the human characters, exaggerating a few features like eye size and wacky hairstyles and colours. Having this blend allows the show to contain emotional tear-jerking scenes, but also allow for comedic segments that don't break the flow of the visual style. The background artwork is incredible, including the backgrounds created entirely in CGI. A lot of the time, the backgrounds are a mixture of CGI and 2D animation, blended together so well that I bet the majority of you watching didn't even notice. The detail in the background art and lighting and the shadows really bring the visuals to life. When the sun hits directly, there is a bright and hard light attacking reflective surfaces, and the shadows add that extra bit of substance that makes the art go from great to incredible. The character designs pop out in Demon Slayer's animation. Characters like Tanjiro have kept kept the same design from seasons past, and even though we've seen characters like Mitsuri and Genya before, we finally get to see them as part of the team, showcasing their abilities in battle. Mitsuri definitely has the most iconic design next to Nezuko and Tanjiro in this season. Her green eyes, floppy purple sword, and most obvious of all, her purple and green hair color makes her design memorable and unique. Not to mention her ginormous, unmissable, colossal, humongous, immense, monumental, enormous, gargantuan, huge tracts of land.
Approved!
The fluidity of the animation is in a league of its own. Something I always had issues with regarding Ufotable's animation in the past, especially in previous seasons of Demon Slayer and even the Fate series, is that the action scenes would often not make any sense. The characters could be gliding through rubble with the camera swinging around the action in ways not physically possible in real life, which is disorientating. And the action is happening at such a fast pace that it is impossible to make sense of what is happening. Kinda like the fight scenes in those Transformers movies. In action sequences that are this fast paced, it is impossible for the viewer to have any idea about who is winning, having to rely on everything else in the scene to make some sort of sense about what is going on. The only example of this I actually like is in the Demon Slayer movie, Mugen Train Arc, the fight between Rengoku and Akaza. But there are contextual reasons behind why you can't keep up with the duel. Season 3 of Demon Slayer does not have this issue at all, and I am here for it. As soon as Mitsuri arrived and takes on the wooden Hydra creature, I feared the worst for the animation, but was both relieved and amazed at what I saw. Mitsuri fighting the Hydra creature in a comprehensive way for the viewer. I love this section of the fight where Mitsuri wraps a sword around one of the Hydra's heads and yanks it to the ground. I never felt like I was unable to understand what was going on during the battle scenes. I always knew who had the upper hand, which heroes and villains were more formidable, creating intense and engaging action sequences. The detail of the animation is spectacular. The designs for the characters contain so much more detail than the typical anime. Tanjiro's overcoat is checkered rather than a single plain color. He wears earrings with small details. He has a complex mark on his forehead. Nezuko, especially in her demon form, has a lot of detail. Her skin and horn contain a lot of cracking. Her tattoos and veins are precise, and her clothes flow naturally whilst retaining their details. Mitsuri is full of color. Her hair blends between green and purple seamlessly. Her sword contains an incredible amount of detail despite how distant the hilt typically is from the frame. And her two beauty marks, whilst not containing much detail, are always precisely positioned. These characters do not have simple designs, meaning it takes longer for a single frame of animation containing them to be drawn. The opening song, Kizuna no Kisake by Melee x Man with a Mission, is great. Not as good as previous OPs for Demon Slayer, but still great, which speaks volumes for how amazing the OP songs for this series have been. Unfortunately, the translation contains a lot of broken English and some lines appear to end mid-sentence. But from what I can gather, it is about fighting for a bond, which would serve to represent Tanjiro and his demon sister, Nezuko, and their inseparable bond. But since the translation I found appeared to be incomplete or flawed, I cannot at this point decipher its exact meaning. The visuals are great, nothing too artsy-fartsy. The artwork in the OP is typically used to showcase the characters in the arc and some beautiful action and dramatic sequences. The ending song, Koi Kogare by Melee Man with a Mission, is also great, but in the same vein as the OP, is not as good as previous EDs, but still great. The song is about falling in love, how it isn't easy, how the time to fall is not ideal, but their love will prevail despite what dangers lurk ahead. The song uses a lot of metaphors like, no matter how many times sorrow overcomes the world, your blade that dances with suppleness will pave the way for our dreams to pass. The blade in this line is not referring to an actual sword blade, rather it is referring to their emotional strength to cut a path for their dreams to come true. It is just phrased in a more beautiful and poetic manner. The artwork for this ED is gorgeous. It is made up almost consist exclusively of still art, used to illustrate Mitsuri and Muchiro's characters, and a little insight into their pasts that we get to explore more thoroughly throughout the actual show. The soundtrack was composed by Yuki Kaijura, so you know it's outstanding. It is able to elevate the emotional impact of the sequence immaculately. Not to mention, a couple of the tracks give the grand action scenes an even greater sense of scale, and with the announcement of a 4th season, has me more hyped than ever to see more from Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer Season 3, the Swordsmith Village arc, was phenomenal, with some of the best emotional highs in the show's history. I recommend you watch this show ASAP, but you should watch Season 1 and 2 first, but since Demon Slayer is the worldwide phenomenon that it is, you probably already have. The story and characters are great, the animation is outstanding, and the music is phenomenal. Please watch Demon Slayer Season 3. It is incredible. If you love a good shonen, then watch Demon Slayer Season 3. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that video. So, I never stay up late to watch anime anymore. I have gotten too old to do that. But Demon Slayer convinced me to stay up past midnight. Just goes to show how good it was and how I was just gripped to the edge of my seat when watching the 3rd season of Demon Slayer. It was, chef's kiss, fantastic. And now to share some Demon Slayer trivia. Koyuharu Kotoge, mangaka of Demon Slayer, cited JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Bleach, Gintama, and Naruto as inspirations for Demon Slayer. During the 2021 general elections in Japan, many politicians used the Demon Slayer logo and color patterns to gain public favor during their campaigns. Demon Slayer has multiple stage plays. The reason why there are multiple is because when there's a new stage play of Demon Slayer, it adapts the latest arc from the anime. So if you've seen it before, you can go again and get a completely new experience. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the ending of the video, but this video unfortunately got blocked for copyright, so I had to do some distorting of some footage, which is a shame. However, when I reach 1,000 subscribers, I will be opening a Patreon, so people who want to support me can do so there. So if we get us to 1,000 subscribers, we get that Patreon open, and you'll be able to watch the entire versions of these reviews without any editing, distortion, or whatever. I've got some other videos as well, which unfortunately YouTube's copyright system just doesn't allow me to publish them. But once I get a Patreon open, you'll be able to see them. So thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe for more content like this from me in the future. Let me know what you think of the latest season of Demon Slayer as kindly as you care to in the comments down below. And if there's any anime you would like me to talk about, please let me know again in the comments down below. So again, thank you all for watching, and I shall see you all next time. Goodbye.